Chapter 7. Social Media. We all know the importance that social media plays in our lives today. Most people get all of their news through social media and conduct all of their interactions on the web there. Aside from performing searches through Google's search engine, social media activity takes up the bulk of time for web surfers. Considering that this is such a cornerstone of our daily lives, focus and attention paid to social media is necessary to succeed in SEO. By ignoring social media, you're ignoring one of the most important tools that will allow you to quickly and effectively reach the widest audience for free. Now, back in January of 2014, Matt Cutts, the head of Google's web spam team, stated that Facebook and Twitter weren't taken into consideration for Google's algorithm. Keep in mind that this was 2014. Today, things are a little bit different. But just to recap, here's what he said. Facebook and Twitter pages are treated like any other pages in our web index. So if something occurs on Twitter or occurs on Facebook and we're able to crawl it, then we can return that in our search results. But as far as doing special specific work to sort of say you have this many followers on Twitter or this many likes on Facebook, to the best of my knowledge, we don't currently have any signals like that in our web search ranking algorithms. When we look at this statement, there are a few things that come to light. First, he stated, if something occurs on Twitter or occurs on Facebook and we're able to crawl it, then we can return that in our search results. What he's saying here is that if the pages are public and there was a link share that occurred, then Google can record that link share in its database. Meaning a share on Facebook or Twitter is counted as a link. Those links help to build authority. Now, that link shared might not be weighted in the same way as a link shared through other means. For example, a link from great editorial content on an authority site will be far stronger than a random person sharing a link on Facebook, but it still counts for something. However, something else that Matt Cutts said strikes me as odd. As the head of Google's web spam team, he has intimate knowledge on the inner workings of Google's algorithms. Why would he say, to the best of my knowledge, that fans and followers weren't included in the algorithm? I would reason that today things are a bit different than they were back then. I would also reason that active fans and followers play a role, albeit a small role, in the overall relevancy of a particular website. The key word here is active, since anyone can get out there and purchase fans or followers. Regardless, the important thing to focus on when it comes to social media are shares. And what's the best way to get people to share your content? You guessed it. You have to create high-quality, unique content that brings value to people's lives. I keep reiterating this theme of high-quality, unique, and valuable content because it really will be at the basis of all that you do on the web. You could have everything else done spot on, but if your content is lacking in the quality, uniqueness, and value department, you'll have no chance at relevancy. Google knows that relevancy comes from trust, and trust comes partly from high-quality, unique content that adds a lot of value to people's lives. That is primarily the basis for their search. Once you've understood that, then you'll turn your focus to churning out excellent content and not try to skimp in that department. At the outset of this book, I stated that in order for you to succeed in SEO, you have to do the most amount of work for the least amount of return, initially at least. However, the majority of folks are trying to do the least amount of work for the most return, which seems to be part of the genetic makeup of most of our society. The unfortunate truth is that you'll get nowhere fast if you try to do the least amount of work for the most return when it comes to SEO. Focus on building very high-quality, unique content that adds value to people's lives, and watch how your trust and relevancy explodes over time. So when it comes to social media, your focus really should be on sharing the excellent content that you've taken the time to build out. That excellent content will be liked, shared, and retweeted, leading to an inevitable increase in authority. I know that this is a time-consuming approach. Building great content takes hard work. This is not something that's done in a couple of hours, or even in a day. This takes exhaustive research, planning, and repeated execution to get it right. But when you do begin to share excellent content, and you're able to connect with people in the social media world, you slowly ease your way into the hearts and minds of the public. If you can do this on a consistent basis over time, you will gain exposure, and ultimately you will become an authority. Building a social media presence. Quite possibly one of the most important ways that you'll connect with people and get people to like and share your content is through social media. And building your social media presence should be something that you focus on now, in the beginning. No matter how long you've been in business, start right away. Why is that? People want to connect with a real person. Gone are the days of B to C and B to B, and here are the days of P to P, or person to person. If you're not real, grounded, and able to connect, your success will be fleeting. So, what are the first steps to building your social media presence? By far, one of the most important tools to do this is to set up a Facebook page. Whether you're selling services, products, or information, you absolutely must first set up your Facebook page before doing anything else. Of course, building an online presence on social media goes beyond just having a Facebook page. But you have to start somewhere, and the place for you to start is on this far-reaching social media site. In effect, you'll have access to billions of people on the planet. This is truly the next frontier in advertising. As long as you approach your social media activity with grace and decorum, over time, your reach will spread, and so will your authority. Facebook is just another way for you to build authority while also connecting with others out there. So, what are some of the main points to building an online presence through social media? What are the best practices when you're just starting out in order to get traction? How can you grow your page over time and not come across as over-promoting or over-cheerleading? Well, in order to succeed in social media, you have to employ the same rules that you would employ anywhere else. You have to add value. That sums it up, but it's not the entire picture. So how do we add value in the social media world? What I normally recommend is to set up what I like to call a content channel. What's a content channel? Well, instead of setting up a social media page dedicated to the name of your business, you should be niche specific and focus on your content. What do I mean? Well, I want to use two particular pages as examples when speaking about content channels on social media. One page is called I Freaking Love Luxury, and it's garnered a large base of fans who actively share, like, and comment on the content. But this social media page is more than just a content channel. The content channel simply promotes the lifestyle that's being sold by the company behind it. But the efforts of the company are rather clever in that they've set up a page not named after the business, but after the lifestyle they're targeting. You can find this social media page on Facebook at facebook.com/IFLluxury and take a moment to peruse the channel and just how they curate their content to help highlight the lifestyle, but not oversell or overpromote. This is a rather brilliant move, and the channel seems to be growing steadily, and the curated content features high-quality photos and descriptions of villas, yachts, private jets, and exotic cars. In turn, they also promote their own services, but not on every post. Another brilliant social media content channel that you can find is Inspirational Quotes, available to find on Facebook at the following URL, facebook.com/inspirationalquoteshub. Like I Freaking Love Luxury, this content channel has a similar approach to social media marketing. The Inspirational Quotes page posts inspiring quotes and photos while promoting their website and email list on occasion. Of course, these pages didn't get large followings overnight. They had to work at it consistently in order to build out their reach. Now, say for example that one of these companies, instead of building a content channel, tried to build a Facebook page just marketing their business. How do you think that would have played out? Certainly not as well as utilizing a popular content channel. So why is that? This comes back to our discussion about adding value. People are more interested in high-value, unique content as opposed to a business simply trying to sell their products and services. Can you see how this concept of value extends into virtually every corner of life? I stressed value in the beginning of the book because I wanted to highlight the utter necessity and place it has in life and in business. We all want to get the greatest value for our dollar. Of course, that value can be a perceived value and not just a real value. But in order to have perceived value, there must be real value first. What do I mean by perceived value? Well, why does someone spend $3,000 on a designer leather bag as opposed to a bag of the same quality at $300 but without the brand name attached to it? In short, there is perceived value in the brand name product as opposed to the non-brand name product. But perceived value doesn't build up easily. It takes hard work over years and years to do that. In the meantime, you need real value. Luxury brands didn't become household names by adding small amounts of value. No, luxury brands became luxury brands because of the delivery of real value over time. They built a reputation for always adding huge amounts of value. So don't misconstrue perceived value in the beginning with real value. You have to first build up your real value, develop a stellar reputation, and only then can you have perceived value. When we're talking about social media, perceived value comes in the way of large fans and followers to a particular page or person. Why is that? Well, people will much more likely follow someone with lots of subscribers because there's perceived value there. But keep in mind that this only applies to real perceived value. I'm not talking about fake fans and followers. It's easy to find those who've unnaturally inflated their pages with fake fans and followers. When you build your page on Facebook, you're building your reputation. This will take time. In fact, like your SEO efforts, it will take years and years to do unless you do some serious advertising. But even then, it will still take a long time to build your user base. So now that we have that understanding out of the way, we would approach our social media presence like we would anything else that we do on the web, through added value. Find a way that you can develop a content channel that will add value to people's lives. Take your given niche, industry, or business, and find a way to develop a channel that's very niche-specific. A niche-specific social media page is what you're going after. Don't be so concerned by naming the page the same name as your business. By doing that, you might make some traction, but you'll be hard-pressed to develop the same reach as you potentially could through a content channel. What's even better? You could name your content channel after one of your focused keywords. So if you're setting up a content channel to help promote your business on a site like Facebook, there are a few things that you should consider. 1. Select a content type to market. When building your content channel, take careful thought about your industry and your business. What do people want to learn about on a daily basis? This will be the foundation of your social media marketing, so pick wisely. 2. Pick a keyword-rich name. In our 2 examples of I freaking love luxury and inspirational quotes, both content channels have keyword-rich names. But it's only the latter who has their keyword-rich name also integrated into their URL. 3. Select a keyword-rich URL. On social media sites like Facebook and Google+, you can, in fact, select your URL once you've reached a certain level of trust or fans with them. When you select your URL, try to incorporate your keywords into it. 4. Share excellent content that adds value. You already know to do this. Come up with some excellent content ideas that are in line with your content channel. How can you add value? What types of things can you share on a consistent basis that people will enjoy? This takes hard work and planning, so be prepared to get your hands dirty. 5. Promote your page. In the beginning, you'll have to promote your page. I wouldn't suggest doing this to your friends. On services like Facebook, you could pay just a few dollars per day to advertise your page for fans. Do not buy fake fans. Work on building real, organic fans. 6. Foster conversations. In social media, it's all about connecting with others. If you take the time to foster conversations with your fans and followers, you'll slowly build your reputation over time. This doesn't have to involve hours of your time. Simply responding and commenting and stimulating insightful conversations will not take enormous amounts of your time, only an ongoing commitment from you. 7. Find other niche social media pages. Similarly to the discussion about niche websites and commenting on their blog posts and articles, you should do the same on sites like Facebook. You can build your online presence by simply sharing your thoughts on posts on other pages. Take the time to show a meaningful interest in what others are doing, and ultimately, it will lead to an expansion of your own fan base.